Good morning, everybody. We will get started exactly at 11 o'clock on the dot, so we have about 7 more minutes. While you guys are waiting, feel free to access today's presentation at this website that's on your screen now, tinyurl.com/ms teams with an S. And we'll get started at 11 o'clock.
Well, now it's changing. Okay. Okay, now what do I do, Becky? While you're waiting for today's training to begin, you can access today's presentation at tinyurl.com msteamsps.
Click on. Yeah, click on that.
Please mute. What? It says welcome.
Okay, so it looks like it's.
You don't have your finger on. Good morning, everyone. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Today's presentation can be accessed at this web address right here at tinyurl.com/msteamsps. So feel free to log into that so you can access today's presentation. We'll get started in about another minute and a half. All right, it's 11 o'clock on the dot, you guys. I would like to honor everyone's time. So welcome. Thank you guys for spending your Friday at 11 o'clock with us, learning about Microsoft Teams. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's presentation. You can access today's presentation at tinyurl.com/msteams with an S, PS. This presentation will live at that web address forever and ever. So if you can take a picture of it, write it down, type it in your notes on your phone, that is how you will access today's presentation whenever you're alone. Please, if you can, mute yourself to avoid any noise feedback. That will help this presentation go smoothly. If you cannot hear me right now, and I know you can't hear me saying this if you cannot hear me, but if you cannot hear me right now, we do have a link right here that says check to ensure your sound is working. There's a little link to kind of help you guys. It's something on your side, but feel free to use that to provide assistance. And of course, if you have the chat feature, feel free to ask any questions anytime you have it. We're going to stop every now and then and kind of open the floor up for questions. And please feel free to share this. I got the question in the chat. Can you share it? Yes, share it with everyone that you know in the district. Please feel free, even out of the district, feel free to share it to anyone. All right, so who are we? My name is Sahara Haney, and I'm an instructional specialist with the Technology Integration Department. And I also have she might be busy, but that's okay. I also have my director, Mrs. Carla Kuiper. She'll be popping in and providing her expertise as well. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone just to avoid any noise feedback. So give me 1 second. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and get started, you guys. So I see some familiar names from the previous presentation. So thank you guys for joining us again. Let's go ahead and jump into today's training. So today's training is all about how to engage and connect with your parents and your students using Teams. So we know that this is something brand new to everyone. Trust me, we understand. So this is going to hopefully be an informative and educational training for you guys, easy to kind of comprehend and take it and make it into your own. So I want you guys to think about this. What are the main ways that you currently communicate and collaborate with your students and parents? So I know I'm a former teacher. I use Google Classroom and I use email all the time, or Reminds or Class Dojo all the time. So the awesome thing about Microsoft Teams is it allows you to take all of those different platforms that we typically use as educators, and it streamlines it into one place without you having to jump across different platforms. We know today, not today, but the climate right now across our district is very uneasy and scary. So we want to kind of make something a little bit easier for you guys to use with your parents and with your students. And we think that Teams is what it could be. This is not a mandate at all, so do not feel pressured to switch to Teams. This is only a recommendation. That is it. Okay? Let's go ahead and jump into the presentation. All right, so let me mute really quickly because I hear a little feedback. I don't want you guys to have to deal with that feedback. All right, perfect. Okay, so getting back on track. So creating norms, let's talk about that. So we know that sometimes, more than often, students think that when they're in a virtual or digital environment, they are exempt from the rules. So one thing that our department is recommending immediately before you even launch Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom or whatever you decide to use to kind of provide enrichment for your students at home, we recommend you guys creating norms, okay? So by creating norms, it will help you manage a digital learning environment. So I recommend reminding the students that this is an extension. I hear that. Let me mute everyone really quickly. Remember that, please make sure you mute yourself, you guys, so that we're not having any noise feedback. Okay, perfect. All right, so whenever you're managing a digital learning environment, please remind your students that this is an extension of the actual physical classroom. This is not the Wild Wild West. They cannot behave and interact any kind of willy-nilly way. This is an extension of their actual face-to-face classroom. I recommend also, as a team building or group building activity with your students, creating norms on how to interact with a digital learning environment. So asking them, how do y'all think we should interact in our team or in our Google Classroom? Have that discussion open with them and get their feedback. It allows them to take that ownership over their norms a little bit more, and they are now invested in the success of the classroom. If you decide to launch a video call, we're going to talk about some ways to launch it and how to launch it. But just how we have the norms for today, telling everyone to mute, let them know, hey, you guys, let's mute. And if you have any questions, use the chat feature to help avoid any noise feedback. So just to make sure that your lesson or your small group is going as well as it can. And then, of course, an awesome thing that I do. Hold on one second, guys. You guys, please make sure that you're muting yourself. Please, please, please. Thank you very much. All right. So something that I do. So right now, currently, I'm using my laptop to talk to you guys, but I have my cell phone next to me and I have it logged into this exact same training. So I have the chat feature open on my phone, and then I have a presentation open on my computer. So that I'm able to talk to you guys, look at the presentation, as well as monitor the actual chat box. So if you have that ability, feel free to do that. The app is free in the App Store. I have an iPhone. I'm not sure about Joy, but I'm fairly confident it is available via the Google Play Store if you have a Joy cell phone. That is there for you guys to use. Okay, so I prefer that just to kind of allow myself to see what I'm doing on my laptop, but then also monitor my chat, and I'm able to pause and answer questions as needed. So that is a great recommendation. We have an additional resource on this presentation on slide 5, and it takes you to kind of an infographic of sorts of how to use Microsoft Teams. Oh yeah, of course, Mrs. Irene, I'm gonna share it right now. So someone just asked, can we have the tiny URL again? It's on the screen. It's tinyurl.com/MS Teams with an S PS. And I'm gonna type it in the chat as well. Just typing it right now. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so I typed it in the chat as well. All right, so going back to this. So this little PDF that we have is a 15-page, and not little. So it is 15 pages long, but it delves into detail every single thing you guys will need to know on how to have a successful team in Microsoft Teams. So this is here for you guys as well. Okay, it's just as an additional resource. All right, so getting back to this. So let's go ahead and delve into getting started and how to even use Microsoft Teams with your students. So if you would like to leave the presentation and open a new tab, if you're able, feel free. If not, follow along on my screen. So when you first log into Microsoft Teams, you'll see your dashboard as a user. And I always make this comparison, but I appreciate comparisons because my mind works like that. If you are a Google Classroom user or pro, you'll notice that it's fairly similar to Google Classroom. You have all of the teams that you are currently a member of or that you have created, and you have that join or create button right there in the right-hand corner. So as a user, I can come here and see all of my teams in one view. The same will be for your students. So when they log into Microsoft Teams and they have multiple teachers, maybe you teach secondary and they have multiple teachers because they have multiple blocks and periods, they will see every single team that they are a part of on their dashboard. As the teacher, I have the option to now in my right-hand corner, join or create a team. So this is my first time. Let's pretend like this is my first time accessing Teams. And I would like to create a brand new team for my 5th graders. I'm going to click on create, join or create team. And I have this option that pops up. First option is create a team. Second is join a team with the code. Your students, I prefer, and this is my recommendation. You don't have to listen to me at all. This is just what I recommend. I recommend that teachers give the codes to their students. Do not waste your little fingers and type in their email addresses or their usernames. That's a lot of work, okay? I prefer everyone to just give them the code and have the kids join themselves. This is your preference. It's up to you what you decide to do. But I want to create my brand new class. So I'm going to click Create Team. When I click Create Team, I get 4 options. I tell everyone, before you choose what kind of team, stop and think about what kind of team you would like to select. Because once you select it, you cannot go back. So if you're a classroom teacher, you're going to want to choose class. But maybe you don't read them and you just quickly choose staff by mistake. And you don't realize you chose staff until you actually get into your team. You cannot revert it back to class. So just be mindful of that. Once you choose your team type, you cannot revert it back to another team type. You have to delete it and start from scratch, okay? So this is a presentation for teachers, so we're gonna go the class route. So I'm gonna click class. When you click the class button, this little box opens up. Once again, very similar to Google Classroom if you're a user of Google Classroom. Simply name your class. I'm gonna just call this 5th grade Amy's homeroom. You can provide a description if you would like to. And then go ahead and hit next and create your stuff. Okay. You can now search for students. Now, remember I said you can add students multiple ways. Either type them in via their username or give them the code. Remember, I recommended give them the code, save yourself some time and some sanity, and give the kids the code for them to join themselves. But if you would like to, you can just type in their usernames. If you type in their names, it will not pop up. Someone in our previous training let us know in a little secret that if you type in their actual username, so like my username could be SH12345, type that in and it will pop up, okay? You can also add co-teachers to your classroom. So maybe you are a 5th grade teacher and you would like to have just one classroom for all of your 5th grade teachers or for all of your 5th grade students, excuse me. So maybe I want to add myself and I would like to add my cohort teacher, my co-teacher. I'm going to add Ms. Kuiper as that. So when I hit add, she is now added as a co-teacher in my classroom. So this gives her the same rights that I have currently. She can add assignments, grade assignments, post on my wall, add channels, etc. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit close because I have my teacher and my imaginary students in my class. And you'll see that your home screen will look just like this. You have a button where they offer you extra help and training. So once again, they provide a lot of support. So between our trainings and our presentations and what they provide for you guys, you are truly good to go. The next button right here is upload class materials. So maybe I would want to upload a syllabus or some norms or some a summer reading list or whatever you would like to upload that is kind of stagnant, that is going to remain the same the entire school year or the remainder of the school year, I should say. You'll click upload and click it and upload it there. Your home page, I compare it to a Facebook wall. If you're a Facebook user, when you log into Facebook, you see your posts, your friends' posts, what they shared, what your mom shared, what your sister shared, what everyone shared. Similar to this as well. So when I type a message here, that message pops up on my feed. The more things I type the same thing over and over again, it will keep populating that message, and we are able to view all the messages. I can even at someone. So, on Facebook, if you want to at a specific person to call attention to the post or to the message, I can at someone. So maybe I want to call attention to Mrs. Kuiper and only talk to her. Simply type in the at symbol, the A with the circle around it symbol, and then type in the person's first name, and it will pop up. So then now you can call attention to that specific person. So maybe you wanted to call attention to Bobby because Bobby did an awesome job on a specific activity, or Bobby had an awesome recommendation in a previous post that you posted in the class in the team. You can call attention to specific people. You can also provide little cute stickers and emojis. We have somebody in the lobby. Give me 1 second to admit them. There we go. You can also admit specific people. I'm sorry. You can also post stickers and gifts and attachments to this. We have a question. It says, can teachers delete or mute students who are? Yes, you can. I'm going to show you how to remove students from your classroom. You cannot mute them like you can in Google Classroom, but you can remove them. Yes, I'm going to show you how to do that. Another question, if we add a student, only that one student can see it, or can everyone see it? No, ma'am. Everyone and their mama can see it. So I'm going to show you another way to private message a student if you have something more private to tell that child. So anyone who logs into my current page right now, they will see that I add Miss Kuiper. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right, we have another guest. Let me admit this person really quickly, you guys. Okay. All right, getting back to the training. All right, so we have our not Facebook wall, our team wall. And so all of my items will populate right here. The more things I post, the more I scroll up and down. So down here, like I was saying, I have an opportunity to post gifts. So, kids love gifts. I love them as well. I can post a little gift for my students. I can post little emoji stickers. So maybe I miss them so very much and I'm happy to see them again. I can post little stickers as well, just to kind of make it cute. Maybe it's Fun Friday. And when I post it, it's going to all populate on my wall. And it tells you who posted it. So no one's anonymous. So if Bobby wants to post something crazy, it tells you that Bobby posted it. Okay. The awesome thing is I can also schedule or meet now with my students. So maybe I want to have a virtual classroom with my students and have them see me read aloud, work on something, whatever I want to do. When I click the Meet Now button, I have the option to initiate a phone call. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to call it meeting. If I click Meet Now, all of my teachers and my members and my current team will be able to meet virtually, or I can schedule a meeting for later on. Maybe I want to schedule it for Monday. When they log in on Monday, it will pop up at that time whenever I start it. So that option is there for you guys. We know that some of you guys are using Zoom or Google Hangouts. With Zoom, primarily, we recommend you guys to not use Zoom because of the security over it. We can't really monitor what's going on in Zoom, and I've been seeing some stories about people hacking into Zoom conference calls and things like that. Microsoft Teams allows us to have a secure network and area where we can work and have all of our things being monitored by IT as an extra layer of protection. So have your little conference calls in here. You can schedule them. You can have them right now. You can also pose a question or a survey to your students. So maybe you wanted to see how they are doing, because right now I'm sure kids everywhere are pretty scared. If I go to my little, oh, thank you, Mrs. Kuiper. So yes, you can mute them. Thank you so much. I knew you can remove them, but I wasn't sure if you can mute them. Thank you. So at the bottom, underneath my little post area, there are 3 dots right there. If I click that, I have the option to embed a form. And from here, I can ask a question. So maybe I want to check how they're doing. If I click option 1, I can type in my answer, possible answers. And then now my students can, and I can have them choose multiple answers. Now my students can go ahead and answer my survey. So maybe I want to just do a quick check-in with them and see how they're feeling, or what their favorite color is, or what activities would they like to do in this team for enrichment, or what's their favorite subjects. I can pose quick questions to them, and as they select their answers, it will populate in my little survey response right there. So I can quickly kind of assess them or do a survey. Whatever I want to ask, I can ask that question. 2 + 2, 5 × 5, a long math problem, whatever I want to ask them, I can ask them in this little survey that I have. Next to my 3 buttons right here, I have the option to also praise them. So maybe Bobby is doing an amazing job providing support to his students and his classmates in the team. And I want to praise Bobby. The little ribbon right here, if I click the little ribbon button, a box opens up for me to send praise to someone. So maybe he's being a leader in the class by helping his classmates. I'm going to pretend like Mrs. Kuiper is Bobby for a second. And I'm going to post a little message to Bobby. So awesome job being a leader among your class. Hit preview. It's going to look like this, and then hit sends. And so now I can praise the students via my wall posts. So when the students log in, they will see this little praise, and they can have a little, like a little, I know when I taught, I'm not sure if they still have them, but we call them brag tags in elementary school. So it's like a little virtual brag tag, basically. You can also like posts. So if you're a Facebook user, you know that you can like or heart post or say wow or surprise at specific posts. I can also do that in here as well. So maybe I love this post, this praise post to my fake Bobby. I can like this specific post. Can students see how other students answered in the survey? So no, they will only see the anonymous portion of it. However, you can go back and see who selected what. So let me show you how it looks. So as you can see on my screen right here, they only see what the answers were that were selected. But as a user, we go to my Microsoft Outlook. As a creator, and I'm sorry, my dog is playing with his toy. I'm so sorry if you hear a little squeaky noise in the background. As a user, I can go, come on now, Microsoft. I can go to my Forms app and view what everyone selected. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with this page right here. Whenever you first log into your Office 365, you'll see this page. If I go to Forms right here, I click that. I can now go and see my questions that I've created, my other forms that I've created, and I can view my responses. Okay. I can also export just how you can in Forms. I can export it to their version, well, not their version of Sheets, but Excel, Microsoft Excel. And you'll notice that it's fairly similar to Google Forms. So if you're a Google Forms Pro, it's pretty similar to how Google Forms looks and feels. What is the website for adding Microsoft Teams? So for us to access it, it's easier for us to access it. I know Mrs. Kuiper is working on adding forms to our Clever, not forms, I'm sorry, adding teams to our Clever portal. IT, I know, was working on pushing it out to our bookmarks as well. So there will be multiple ways for the kids to access it. For employees, however, the easiest way to access it is through your Office 365 email portal. So it's right there. That's the easiest way for us to access it. Yes, so they are yes, ma'am. So we got a question that says, so the questions and polls that we make through Teams are automatically saved. Yes, you will not have to go to any other outside platform and create it and then pull it in. When you create it in Teams, it's automatically saved to the entire app itself. Good question. Any other questions? These are some good questions popping up in the chat.
Yeah, there was a the one about the anonymous completion. I think I tried to drop a image in the chat just to show that in your settings on the form, just like in the Google form, you can record the name or not, as the case might be. If you want responses to be anonymous, then you could turn off that record name option.
So y'all, like I said, it's pretty similar to forms. You know, in forms,
definitely
you have the option to turn on the anonymous answers and all of that. It's the same setup, fairly similar. I'm not sure what happened to my team. Let me go to the app. Okay, there we go. All right, so yes, so these are good questions. How do you add the students in your class? Yes, I'm getting ready to go right there. All right, thank you, Mrs. Kuiper. So Mrs. Kuiper just dropped the actual URL for the website in the chat. And like I said, remember, we have access to it from our Office 365 portal. It's going to be placed into Clever, and IT is currently pushing it out to everyone. So how can I add members to my team? So at the very beginning, I said there's two ways, either via the email address or give them the code. I recommend giving them the code. So I'm going to show you guys how to access the code to share to your students, but I will also show you how to add additional members manually via their email or their username. So when you're in your team, to access your team settings, next to your name right here, there are 3 dots. If you click that, you have the first option that says Manage Team. Click Manage Team, and it takes you to your member page. But I want to go to my code. So if you are a Google Classroom user or pro, you know that when you first go into Google Classroom, your classroom code is smack dab right there for everyone or for you to see. It's a little different in Microsoft Teams. You have to go a few extra steps to access it. So I'm going to go to my Manage Team settings and then go to my Settings tab right there. Once I go there in the middle of my screen where it says Team Code, when I click that, I now have the option to generate a code for my students. And they will give you a code. You cannot create your own code. So once again, similar to Google Classroom. And then once I have the code, I can copy it. I can also change it. So maybe I think it's too many V's in this combo. If I hit reset, I can change my codes and it'll give me a new code. I can also disable my codes. Maybe I feel like all of my students are in and I want to lock my door and shut down my code. When I hit remove, I can remove my code. So that's one way to add your students. That's the way that I think we're recommending for students specifically. If you would like to add them manually, however, going back to my members tab right here, I can search for members and add members right there. So the little add member button, if I click that, I can now search for students. We recommend typing in their username for them to pop up. So you know how the kids have their little the initials and the numbers behind it, their username. Type that in and it should pop up. But once again, it's a lot of work for you guys. So I recommend giving them the code and having them join through that way. Any questions on how to add students? Perfect, thank you. So someone said they did have success with typing in their first and last name. I know someone in the previous training we had earlier this morning, they said they could not do that. They had to type in their usernames. So I think it's kind of a varied approach. If you have success with typing in their first and last name, go that route. If you have success typing in their username, go that route. If you don't, just give them the code. So yes, they cannot get emails. Only 12th graders can. However, their email is you can add their email address, like their username. So yes, it's the same way with Google. The kids use that same email address to log into their Google items. They don't have email, but it's still accessible for them to access things. Correct. How would you recommend getting the codes to the students? So, for example, maybe I teach 7th grade and I use Remind to send out messages to my parents. I can use that and send the codes through there. Someone just said Class Dojo. If you use Class Dojo, or if you have an email blast for all your parents, send it out through that. Or I know someone in the previous training said that they're going to place their code in their current Google Classroom. So they're going to just take that code, place it in Google Classroom for the kids to access and join their team. So there's a variety of different ways for you to get the code out to your students. It just depends on how you currently are talking to your students. So if you use Remind, send it through there. Class Dojo is awesome as well, or just an email blast to parents, or just place it in your Google Classroom. Let's see. Make sure I answered all of the questions.
Yeah, I think we got one about getting access to the student usernames. And so one recommendation is, so if you're having trouble getting that drop down with all your students, if you have JCampus access, that would be one way you could gather student names. Another suggestion would be to connect with your school's tech facilitator or a library media specialist. They can help you get a list of your student names and usernames as well. So that could be, those could be 2 suggestions.
And correct, Ms. Irene, I would not recommend posting this on Facebook or Twitter. No, do not post this publicly. If you feel like the code has gotten out to people who are not supposed to be in your class, remember, go back to your team code and remove it. Disable the code. Now, let's say you got somebody in your class that should not be in your class, or you want to remove a child from your class. The tab right here that's called Members, you can go here and let me add somebody to my, let me add her as a student. Hopefully it does. Fingers crossed. Yes, it does. All right, perfect. So I have my member. I have Dr. Rutledge as a student in my classroom. And maybe I would like to remove that student from my classroom. The little X right here is how you go and you remove that student. And you also have the ability to mute that student as well. So someone asked that earlier, remove and mute is in the exact same spot. So maybe Dr. Rutledge is acting crazy in my class. She's posting crazy things. She's not following directions. If I click that little mute button, she will now be muted from my class. So she can still do my assignments, but she cannot post or she cannot comment or do anything inappropriate. I saw a question just now that asked, so the students will go to the website provided and enter the code. Yes. So remember, when you're on your team homepage, the little join or create team button, when you click that, they will just simply type in that code that you provide to them. Yes, correct. For my first student class, can it be from parents' emails or must it be from student emails? So it should be from students. And I'm going to talk about how to add parents to your Google Classroom as guests, but you should add your students, correct. I believe you can go to JCampus info to find their numbers. Yes, so their usernames, typically like their student ID numbers, are what is behind their initials. So if their student ID number is 01234, that will be behind BB for Bobby Brown, example like that. Can you show how to mute them? Yes, ma'am. So going back to my team. So when you're in, go back to the entire homepage. Whenever I'm in my homepage right here, next to my team name, you don't have to apologize, Ms. Jessica, it is okay. Next to my team name, there are 3 dots right there. I'm gonna click that and then go to manage team. And then you're gonna see your team, your co-teachers or your owners. But I want to go to my guests, my members. Right there, next to that person's name is the little mute button. Click that and it will mute them. Okay? Hope that answers your question, Miss Jessica. All right. So we have our members in. We have our code activated. My kids are joining my classroom. Let's go and talk about channels. I'm going to go back to my home. No problem. You're very welcome. I'm going to go back to my home page. So, Channels are something that I think will be awesome for teachers to use, especially if you are in a secondary setting. So if I teach 6th grade on up and I have multiple blocks, I do not recommend creating a team for every single block. That will drive you crazy, okay? I would recommend creating just one class. So I'm going to do this one for example. I'm going to rename this class. I'm going to rename this Mrs. Haney's ELA class. I'm going to rename it that. So then now I can create additional channels for each block that I teach ELA. So next to where I have my class name, I'm going to hit those 3 dots, and I have the option to add channel. I'm going to name this first channel, first block, homeroom. Before I hit add, I have some extra options that I can choose from. It says standard, it defaults to standard, but I can make it to where it's private. Only a specific group of my members can access this. If you're going to do different blocks in your team, I recommend having it be private. So then only that specific block can access that channel. But it is up to you. Once again, this is your decision. I'm going to make mine private and then hit next. And I can now add members that are currently in my team to my channel. So maybe Charmaine is in my first block. I'm going to add her to my first block. And she will now have access to all the things that I post in my first block homeroom. Okay, I'm going to pause. I see a few questions. Can you imagine having mute buttons when we were teaching a person? I know that would be amazing. Just click the air and they are now muted. After adding my students, how do I add a code? So to access your code, next to your team's name, your 3 dots, you're going to click those 3 dots and then go to manage team. You have a few tabs up here. Go to your settings tab, and then smack dab in the middle is where your team code is. You have to generate it for them to give you a code. So until you hit generate, it will not give you a code. I hope that answers your question, Mrs. Patricia. All right, so going back to my channel. So when I create a channel, only the members, if I make it private, only the members in that private channel will have access to those those posts, those files, etc. Okay. No. So someone asked the question, is there a separate code for each channel? There is not. You don't have to worry about giving different codes for different channels. So think about it like this. Your general page, your home page for your team is your umbrella. So all of your members are in that general team. But you may want to have additional sub channels or sub teams within your main team, excuse me. So then that's when I can add those different channels. So no, you only have one code for your main channel, for your main team, excuse me. I'm using the wrong term. So you only have one code for your main team. Once your students add your team using that code, they will now be able to be added to your separate channels through you. So to access teams for the first time from a home computer, students should go to Clever and use their EBR credentials to log in and then go to Teams. Yes, so I'm not sure if it's been pushed out in Clever just yet, but correct. And we also have the web address at the very top. It's teams.microsoft.com. And I'll type it again on the screen. There you go. So yes, but it will be pushed out to Clever. I'm not sure what the time that will get pushed out, but it will get pushed out eventually to Clever. Yes, ma'am. Can they access this on their phone? Yes. So currently I'm on my phone chatting with you guys, but I'm using my laptop to share my screen. Yes, they can access it on their phone. Yes. And the app is free. They just simply log in to the Teams app via their login address and their login and password. So it should be on Clever by Monday. Thank you, Mrs. Piper. So yeah, so just tell the kids to go to Clever, access it there, and they're good to go. Or they can just download the app on their phone, type in your code, and then they're in your class. Is there one place in chat where you can place all the links shared? There is not. That would be awesome, but I'm not sure. Maybe Mrs. Piper, is there a place I can pin pin links or pin things in my chat? I don't think so.
I cannot. I'm not familiar with a way to do that. If you save a message, I think in the chat, you get like a notification on that. But that would be a great feature.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no, but I can add the links to the presentation that I have for you guys. But like if you're doing this with your students, unfortunately, no. Definitely post links to your main wall. I recommend that. But the awesome thing is any files that I share in my chat are stored in my chat. So if I were to share a file with you guys right now in the chat box, that chat will be stored in my files. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Yes, ma'am. Yes, my Miss Irene, I understand. All right. So earlier I mentioned that if I add someone in my posts, I can add them. However, everyone and their mama can see the posts. But maybe I want it to be a private message. I don't want everyone to see the post. I just want that person to see my message. At the very top part of your screen up here, if you click the little chat box feature, the little compose feature, I should say, I can now chat with someone privately. I can tell Mrs. Kuiper, hi, I am missing your assignments from yesterday. What happened? And we can now have a private communication. Or I can chat with the group. Maybe I want to chat with a group of students that had a group project. I can chat with them and say a specific message to them as well. So I can chat with all of those, any members outside of my team or inside of my team through the chat, the little compose button right there. Go back to my team. So that's how you private message. Any questions before we jump to assignments? Let me see. No. So IT has, Ms. Kuiper responded back saying my dog ate my homework. IT has turned off the chat feature between students. So no, ma'am, they cannot. Trust me, we understood. We knew that was gonna be a problem. We turned that completely off. No problem. Okay, so next one is our assignments. In the left-hand corner over here, underneath Teams, you have a button that says Assignments. If I click Assignments, it will show all of my current classes, okay? So I'm gonna go to my ELA class and then hit Next. I can now start creating assignments for my team. So when I hit Get Started and I hit the Create button, I can now post an assignment or a quiz. Maybe I wanted to post a quiz. Forms is going to open up for me, excuse me, and I can now either pull from a form that I've already used before, or I can create a brand new form from scratch. So I'm going to just use 2 + 2, something easy. And I can now have my form here. I can enter instructions. I can assign points, etc. I can also specify it to go to specific students. So just how in Google Classroom, I can differentiate and only send it to certain kids, I can do the same exact thing. So maybe I only want Mrs. Kuiper to have this quiz. I can have it only go to her. Any questions about assignments? You can't do that much in assignments, so it's actually a little bit easier than hard because you only have assignment and quiz. You can't do as many things as you can do in Google Classroom. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, you cannot assign different assignments to different channels. You can only give them different files. So let me show you what I mean. So whenever I'm in my team, if I go to my first block right here, I can post different announcements to them. And I can post different video calls and things to them in different files. But when I go to my assignments, those assignments are that's for my entire team. So you really can't, you won't be able to differentiate on a channel level, but you can differentiate on a student level. So when I go to my ELA class, I can now differentiate and assign assignments to specific students, not the entire channel, unfortunately. That would be amazing. And I'm pretty sure they're going to work on it because everyone's at home now. Just to help with the assigning things to everyone and differentiating across my instruction. But right now I cannot. Can you add your assignments from Google Drive? Yes and no. So it's not a simple click of a button as you can do in Google Classroom because that's a Google app. But in Microsoft, I can go and pull the URL. So for example, if I have my Drive open to use, you know, because y'all are all some tech pros, you know that if you go to a document, I'm going to just go to something really fast, and you click on it, you have the option to get a share link. When I click share, I can now, once it loads, okay, copy this link right here. And then I can go to my team and post that specific link to either my entire team or post it to just my homeroom. Paste it, and they now have access to that document. Now, I know that my Google Classroom pros are getting ready to ask me, but what about make a copy for each student? You are still able to do that. Show you guys a little trick. So this works for everything, not just for this specific tool that I'm getting ready to show you guys. But if you did not know, in Google, you can make any item. So let me repeat myself. Let me start back. I can make any item that I share in Google a forced copy. So that means whoever I share it to, they are forced to make a copy of it. They cannot touch it. They cannot ruin my original one. They're forced to make a copy of it. Let me show you how that works. So going back to this document right here, I have this long link right there. I'm going to just go ahead and copy that link. But let's say I want to force a copy. To force a copy is really easy. I'm going to go to this blank document to show you how to do it. I'm going to paste that link that I just got. And you guys see where it says, let me make my margins a little bit larger so I can show you the whole thing. You see where it says edit right here? If I change the word edit to copy and I send this link to someone, when they go to it, it will force them to make a copy of my item without them messing up my original item. So you can still send out copies of things to your students via Google, even though it's not a Google item that you're putting it in. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. So whenever you're using Google, anytime that you use it, you get a unique URL for that item. And typically it says edit right there. Simply take that edit little word out and change the word to copy. And then you now have a copy URL. So when you paste it in there, it will force a copy for whoever's accessing it. No problem. I love showing that tip to everybody because I use it all the time. It's thebomb.com. Okay, so now if I wanted my students to, I'm gonna go to my main team and copy and paste that link. Whenever my students go to my link now, they have their own copy to that specific document or assignment. So you can still use your Google items in Microsoft Teams, but it's just not as a quick button push as it was in Google Classroom. You have to actually go to your Drive, get that link, and then paste it into your Microsoft Teams. I highly doubt they will create an app for that in Microsoft Teams because in essence, Microsoft Teams is Google Classroom for the other company. So they don't play nice together. So I'm pretty sure they won't ever sit there and create an app for that inside of their actual platform. Can I view assignments in progress? Or do students have to submit their work for me to see what has been done? So I am actually not sure about that answer. Mrs. Kuiper, do you know the answer to that question? I'm not sure if she had to hop off to go to another call. She might have had, but let's investigate. I'm all about investigating.
Yeah, I believe there is a way that you can see all of the student assignments
In progress?
As they're submitting.
Okay.
But again, let me view.
I know in Google Classroom, I can go to my
As
little
they're in real time as they're working on it. That I'm not sure about.
Yeah. So I want to say no, because I have not come across that, but it could be out there and I just didn't see it. So I'm going to get your name. If you don't mind, either private messaging me or typing your email address in the chat box, and I'm going to research for you and I'll email you myself and let you know. If they share it with you, yes. If they share it with you, you can go and see what they're doing. So yeah, you can, if you wanted to maybe have a specific post on here to where, let me go back to my team, to where you tell them, hi you guys, post the links to your work below. In Google, they can go to reply and then they can just copy and paste their links there. So then you can go to those links as you see fit. So that is a workaround for Google at least. Or if they share it to you, that's also an option as well. Yes. And trust me, I love Google. Like, I'm a diehard Google person. So it's going to be interesting to kind of find out some cool ways to integrate Google into this, because like I said, this is their competition. They're not going to make it easy for us. So yeah. But Mrs. Danielle, I will email you. Let me know what your email address is and I'll get with you personally about that answer to your question. Any other questions, you guys? All right, one more thing and we're done. Let's talk about adding parents to your classroom. So earlier I said that you can add members to your classroom who are in the EBR organization. But you can also add members outside of your organization. They would just serve as guests in your class, in your team. So I hope you guys remember. So pop quiz inside of your mind, answer me in your minds. How can I add members to my classroom or to my team, excuse me? Yes, it will be Miss Marcia. It will be, or Marsha, I'm sorry. It will be available later on. So if I want to add members to my team, next to my name right here, if I hit my three dots and I go to either add member, but I want to go to manage team. Right here, if I go to my add member button, I can now type in someone's email address. And they will be added as a guest. And once you add that person's email address, you will have to go in. I'm going to add my other email address. You will have to go in and let them know, hey, I sent you a request to join my team. You have to go and confirm your account, because Microsoft wants to make sure that this is not spam. So they will have to go to their email account and confirm that they got it and accept, and they will be added as a guest. Now, when you add parents as guests to your team, they do not have the same rights as everyone else. They can only view what's going on. They can interact a little bit on your home page, but they don't have any of the same rights as the members do. They can also view video calls as guests as well. So if you want them to tune in virtually, they can, but that's about it. They have very limited privileges as a guest. So that option is there for you to add parents as guests to kind of keep that line of communication open between your parents. Yes, correct. So I can have anyone edit anything from Google, but once again, edit allows everyone on that same document. If I want everyone to have their own copy of it, do that little copy trick I showed you guys. If I want to use Google Drive and share materials with my students, always I need to make a copy or just with the materials I can share. It depends on you. So if it's something that you want your students to edit independently, make a copy of it. If you want them to all get on one document and collaborate, then just do a normal share or normal edit, and that's it. Any questions? No problem. Any other questions, you guys? Because we are done. I know that was a lot that we just threw at y'all. We have additional trainings, the same trainings over and over again. So if you missed something today, or if you missed a little piece of something, I am recording it, so it will be made available soon. And we have additional trainings. You can find that list on the second slide of the presentation right here.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Yes, I just signed in. I missed, maybe about 30 or 40 minutes of this, course. So this is this is engage and connect with parents and students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What do we? I know I missed some, so I'm sort of off here. I'm
It's
sort of off.
okay.
Okay, I'm just selling in, so I do think I do know I'm not off. I'm not off, but I know you're talking about as far as mailing or something like that.
I'm not sure what you're referencing.
Okay,
I know you missed probably
I just-
majority of it. So we do have another training today if you can tune in, or next week if you can tune in.
Okay, I'm okay. Just want to see that since I am signed in this class, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm all right. Okay, I know where we are. I know what's happening.
And
Okay.
Monday we have a couple of good ones on Monday, or even on Tuesday. We have a couple of good ones. So if you want to loop back and get the introduction again, or if you want to loop back and do this one again and get it from the beginning, then we have it so that you can loop around and do a couple of them.
Okay, I think I'm gonna start at 2:30. Go to the one at 2:30.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the one at 2:30.
Got it. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We got a question just now. Someone asked me, add a guest, which is their parents. Can they see everything that the students can see? Yes, but they won't be able to interact with different things. Oh, and I also recommend, thank you for reminding me, any training that you guys come to virtually for us over the next week or so, try to sign in 10 minutes early because it cuts off at 2:50. So it's like our door is locked, can't let anybody else in after 250 people. So just kind of be mindful of that whenever you're tuning into our trainings. But once again, that link to the document for all the trainings is on slide 2 of the presentation. Go there and you have access to all of the links, all of the times and the dates. And we're offering these trainings 1,000 times, I promise you. If you need extra help one-on-one, reach out to myself or Mrs. Kuiper, and we don't mind doing a one-on-one training with you. That is perfectly fine. We're open to that as well. Can I still sign in? I got in here. So we don't have an actual sign in for you guys. It's just you guys coming in. So yeah, you can come in and go as you please. This is pretty casual. It's like PDs in your pajamas. So yeah, it's very, very casual. All right, you guys. Any additional questions before I end the call? If you need the presentation still, remember it's right here. The website address is tinyurl.com/MS-Teams with an SPS. All righty, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Today's session is over with, but if you just joined, I see some people are just joining the conversation. If you're just joining, we have this same training again at 2:30. And let me type in some of the links. Let me put it on here. Let's see. Thank you, Mrs. Cato. Thank you very much. I was getting ready to type it. I greatly appreciate you typing that link in for me. Thank you so much. Makes my heart smile. So yes, Mrs. Irene is typing in all of the links that we shared today. The first link that she has in the chat is to the presentation. The second link is to Teams itself, directly to Teams. And remember, the team link, the team app will be added to Clever by Monday. So your kids will have easy access to it. So once again, thank you guys so very much. And please stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see y'all soon.